What's going on, everybody? Respawn Gentleman here. So Techland just released the Bloody Ties DLC reveal trailer earlier today at Gamescom, and it has a ton of information, but also Timon did an interview with IGN that gave even more details about the DLC as well as Chapter 2. So we're going to dive into all of that and get all the information we have out there so you guys have it as well. Let's dive right in. Now, first, I want to go over something that has had a lot of people confused. I've been getting tons of comments about this. So this is kind of really important. I want to go over first is that the DLC, the Bloody Ties DLC, does come with the Deluxe Edition as well as the Ultimate Edition if you already have them. I know a lot of people are looking at their stores for their platforms they play on, and it shows that the Bloody Ties DLC is $10. Do not worry, you do not have to purchase it a second time. It is already included with your game if you have those two editions. So once the DLC releases, you will have it. So you don't have to worry about buying it. Want to clear that first. The second thing I want to talk about is the Aristocrat Pack, which is actually this right here. It's this outfit plus this weapon that you see. So this releases on September 6th for everybody who pre-orders the Bloody Ties DLC. If you already own the Deluxe Edition and the Ultimate Edition, you will also get this outfit and this weapon in the Aristocrat Pack. For when it says by pre-order buyers, that also means that if you purchase the DLC separately, like if you have the standard edition, for example, then you still get this as long as you purchase the DLC before September 6th. Now, I don't know right now if this outfit will be something that you'll have to buy separately if you don't get the pre-order, if you order the DLC after September 6th. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll have to wait till September 6th to find that out for sure. But again, that's just something I wanted to clear the air because I know I'm going to get more comments about it. And I just wanted to let everyone know that you will be getting the DLC with those additions plus the Aristocrat Pack. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is that, yes, the DLC does release officially on October 13th, 2022. So it does come out this October. I know that a lot of people are going to be disappointed by that because originally it was supposed to come out in June. It was pushed back to September. Now it's pushed back to October. So yes, I do know that that is definitely frustrating, but based off of what they're saying is going to be in here, which I'll go over here in just a minute, it's going to be absolutely insane. I'm fine that it's coming out in October because there's going to be so much to this. Even though the DLC itself is small, it's got apparently a lot packed into it. So I think knowing the information I'm going to go over in a little bit makes it even more exciting. So we'll cover all of that in just a minute. Now, some of the things that this mentions, I'm gonna have the trailer playing so you can kind of see that, see what it looks like. But basically, a lot of things is this takes place outside of Villador, so it does not take place in Elysium like a lot of people are thinking. That's not the case. It is outside of Villador 100%. There's going to be story missions as well as side quests. The rewards for doing this, you're going to be getting new weapons, new outfits, new gear pieces, which are different from outfits. So I'm glad we're actually getting a separation there. And we're also getting some cool new toys, according to what Timon had said to IGN. So you just kind of saw him there a little bit. The champion with the skull on his face, that is Skullface. He's one of the new characters being introduced. And so he will be kind of like the big bad that we have to defeat at the end, most likely, which I'll get into more here in just a little bit. Another character they introduced is Astrid. She basically runs the show. She runs the Carnage Hall and kind of does everything with that. Now, there's actually a side story that goes along with Astrid that Timon said he recommends you do because it gives a lot of backstory and lore to Carnage Hall and just kind of the whole DLC. So you definitely want to do as many side quests as possible to really get the full lore of the area. Now, one of the things they didn't necessarily show in that particular trailer, but there's things you can do in the game that are called spectacles. So let me flip over to IGN's video and show you what I'm talking about. So you can kind of see right here, this is frozen on their video here. This is an area that is considered a spectacle. So a spectacle is basically kind of like a myth or a fairy tale that you have to role play through. So in this particular one, Timon actually talks about how you're playing as Robin Hood, basically, and your objective is that you have to, go steal the gold or whatever from the sheriff's castle. And so you kind of have to play it out like that and survive is kind of how that goes. So here's kind of a wider view of it. You can see that You know, there's like a bridge that comes down, I think, at some point. And remember, he talked about like you go inside, you have to defeat the enemies and collect the gold, and you have to like cart it back across and stuff like that. So it's a multi-layered objective kind of thing. Now, I will say this is something that Simone also mentioned. The spectacles are not the only thing to do in the game. There is a lot more to this. So some of those things that he mentioned were you get to do things that are maybe more combat focused. So it's kind of more traditional, like what we saw in the trailer, where it's, you know, fighting enemies inside it's like an octagon essentially. Or there's something that's maybe more parkour based, and you have to like kind of work your way around it, things like that. So another thing that they're also adding in the game, which I'll play this little clip here, is absolutely amazing, is they're bringing back the Freaks of Nature from Dying Light 1. This will be inside the Carnage Hall. Now, I don't know if they're going to have any Freaks of Nature in Villador, so people who don't have the DLC can fight them too. I have no idea about that right now. We'll know more closer to release, but you'll see things like this particular freak, he's like able to spit fire at you. And it's just insane. Like, these battles are going to be nuts, but I love that they're bringing back the Freaks of Nature, because it was something that everybody loved and has been asking for since forever to get added to the game. So we're finally getting Freaks of Nature back, which is super, super awesome. So another thing they mentioned here, and I'll kind of play this clip just to see more of the spectacles, but one they mentioned is there will be kind of a multiple choice essentially thing that you do. And it's not going to be like in the main game where, you know, you have dialogue options that you choose from. It's more based on your actions. So if you were to, I'm thinking it's most likely going to be, hey, if you choose kill this enemy, walk away, stuff like that. I don't know 100% what those are going to be like, but basically there's going to be multiple branching paths, which means there's going to be multiple endings, which brings me back to Skullface, what I talked about earlier. So right here, this is called the Carnage Manica. This is the weapon, the special item that Skullface uses. You can see here in this little video on the website that it looks like a shield of some kind. They went into details a little bit about it. Basically, if you're able to get this weapon, now key thing is here is that's exactly what Timon said, and I'm going to dive into that in just a minute. But if you get this weapon, then basically you'll be able to mod it, add effects to it, and it's going to be kind of like a tool. So I don't think it's going to be like something you equip in your weapon spot. I think it's more going to be an accessory like your Night Runner tools and things like that. So I feel like it's something that we'll equip in our left hand, and then we have our right hand free to use, you know, a weapon or whatnot. The thing that kind of got me the most is that he said, if you get this. So that kind of goes along with the multiple branching paths and multiple endings. That seems like there's a possibility that Skullface may not be the final enemy for you, depending on your story choices. Or maybe he is, and maybe if you choose to let him live, you don't keep it. Maybe if you choose to let him die, you keep it. There's no way of knowing right now what that means, but it sounds like there's a possibility that you may not get this weapon unless, you know, you do certain things. But I'll have all that information once the DLC comes out. I'll go through the whole thing and let you know all about what choices do what and all the good stuff. But this thing looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it, because it just looks awesome, and just the ideas I have in my head of what it's going to do, especially that it has effects and mods you can add to it, means that it's going to be some crazy stuff. Now, another thing I talked about is that there's a whole area, I may have mentioned this earlier, but you're not just going inside of Carnage Hall and that's a DLC. No, there's actually a whole area outside of it as well. You get to explore and kind of navigate and do things that has apparently a ton of stuff packed into it. A lot of secrets, which to me means that we're going to have a lot more Easter eggs in the game, which I'm super happy about. I love the Easter eggs. So I think that's something they're going to be adding into this whole area, new things we can get. So that's going to be really cool. I love that it's not just this one building. It's a whole area that you go to. You get to explore and find all sorts of different things in. The last thing he talked about during the IG interview was Chapter 2. So we got some huge details on that. And basically, he said we're only just days away from Chapter 2's release. So to me, that means we're either going to be getting it on Thursday or Friday. I don't think he would have said days if it's releasing tomorrow, at least at the time of this recording. So I have a feeling it's going to be on Thursday or Friday of this week. So either the 25th or 26th. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those 2 days, more likely the 25th, because they do tend to like to release things on Thursdays. But we are 100% getting chapter 2 either the end of this week or the very beginning of next week. One of the two things. Not 100% sure, but I'm really shooting for and hoping for for Thursday, because that would be absolutely amazing. Now, other information that we've already gotten on chapter 2, which kind of reinforced a little bit, is that the new vendor and the new agent is focused on ranged combat. So based on the fact that you can see right here, she's got a crossbow, I have a feeling that her special weapon is going to be a crossbow that you can buy from her, which would be super amazing, because you have Harper, the chapter 1 vendor, he's got the Night Runner claws. So I think hers would be like maybe the hunter's crossbow or something like that. I think that because the chapter 2 is going to be called, Huntress and a Hag. So maybe it's the Huntress crossbow or Hunter's crossbow, something like that. I have a feeling that's going to be the special item you can work towards getting and purchasing for yourself, which is going to be super awesome if that is the case. Now, again, like I just said, it's going to be called the Huntress and the Hag. So the Hag is actually going to be the brand new enemy they're bringing into this game for chapter 2. And it's crazy. Basically, it's going to be an upgraded version of the Banshee. It's going to have new effects and stuff that it can do. Don't know what any of those are yet. He didn't go into details about that, but I kind of had a thought whenever it was called Huntress and a Hag. I had a feeling that the Hag would be some form of variant of a Banshee. It looks like I was right. So we're definitely getting a new type of Banshee. Don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I'm excited to see it. Now, the other thing he mentioned in there was that we're also getting another enemy that is being kind of tweaked. He said here that the enemy's going to have new looks, new mechanics, and new logic. It's an enemy that people don't expect. So I mean, that could be a million things. They could tweak the howlers and maybe make the howlers run away from you. So whenever you try to run up to them to get them to stop screaming, they actually run, which would be way more intense and bringing more zombies around for sure. They could do something. Maybe they'll finally pay attention to the community and do something different with the drowners, and have them work completely differently other than just being skinny exploding zombies, because we don't need 2 exploding zombies. I think it's better to have it do something else entirely. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Maybe they'll do something with the bolters, although I don't really see the point of doing anything with the bolters because they're basically useless. They just run away from you. So I think if they're going to do anything to an enemy, I really think it should be the drowners. But I want to hear what you guys think. What do y'all think about the information that we just got on the DLC, all the chapter 2 information? What you think the new enemy that's going to be changed, what that's going to be like? What do you think the new Banshee is going to be like? I want to hear all of your thoughts, so definitely leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Dying Light content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.